Harvey. Today we're going to look at What Now by Rihanna, a piano part for it. The good news is that, like so many modern pop songs, it's a circle song, just 4 chords right through the entire song. We'll look at 2 different versions, a fairly straightforward accompaniment version and another version which is pretty much the same as the original. In their most basic form, the chords are A flat minor 7, B sus 2, G flat major and G flat suspended, returning back to G flat major. If you've been through the Simply Music accompaniment program, you'll be able to find these chords without too much trouble. But I'm going to show you a particular way of playing them that's really simple. Let's look at the right hand notes. For A flat minor 7, the notes are G flat, B and E flat. I think of it as an upside down triangle shape using the outside black keys. For the next chord, B sus 2, all you have to do is bring the top note down 1 black to D flat. For G flat major, just bring the middle note down to the next black, making it 3 blacks. To make that into the G flat sus, just bring the middle back up to the white again. Couldn't be much simpler. One more time just with the right hand. A flat minor 7, B sus 2, G flat major, G flat sus, and then we'll finish with the G flat major. The left hand is just A flat, B, and G flat 2 times. So it's A flat, B, and G flat. Both hands will look like You can get a very nice feel by playing the 2 hands according to this diagram, which you'll also find on our blog page. This string of numbers and pluses is what you will count: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and. The dots above the numbers represent what you'll play with your right hand: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and. The dots below represent your left hand: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and. The whole idea is that you just count out loud and tap both hands until you start to get the feel of it. In fact, I would recommend here to start with just 1 hand at a time, so let's do that. I'm starting with my right hand. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and. And I'm just tapping it out away from the keyboard and just speeding up a little bit each time until I start to get the feel of it. I'll do the same with the left hand. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and so on. And then I'll try putting 2 hands together. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and. Going very slowly, controlling the events, not worrying about how it sounds until I'm confident playing it and I can start to build up speed. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and. When you've got that, repeat on the keyboard again, starting really slow and building speed as you repeat. Just stay on the first chord until you get it down. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 1. get lost or tangled, that's giving you a very clear message. You're moving too fast. Go back a step or slow down. Here's one little challenge. For the fourth chord, you play the G flat major on the first two right hand events, G flat sus on the next two, and return to G flat major for the last one. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and... One more time. Play the G flat major on the first two right hand events, G flat sus on the next two, that's counts 4 and 5, and return to the G flat major for the last one, count 6. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and... Of course, to start with, you'll be controlling the events, stepping through really slowly. Now let's try a more complex arrangement, which is still not a whole lot harder to learn. The chords are mapped out differently and broken up differently, but if we take our time and control the events, we should be able to handle it pretty comfortably. Let's start with the left hand. We play 3 notes for every chord. They will always be the 1, that is the note that the chord is named after, 5, which is just the top note of a basic chord, and then the octave of the bottom note. So here on the A flat, there's the chord. Let's just take away the middle note. That leaves 1 and 5. Then we just add an octave on top. All the chords are mapped the same way. A flat, B, G flat, then another G flat. They're all broken up the same way too, one note at a time, played up, down and back up. Up, down and back up. You'll get the rhythm just by listening a few times through. The right hand is played all in one position and uses just 5 notes. They are B flat, B, D flat and G flat. You will play 2 notes in a rocking motion. More good news is that the top note will always be G flat, which means just the bottom note to learn. So let's have a look at each. For the first chord, A flat minor, the bottom note will be B. Second chord, the B chord, bottom note is D flat. Third chord, it is B flat. For the fourth chord, the G flat sus, you'll play both B and D flat before returning to the B flat. I hope you noticed that I played the G flat with all of those. Each time, the chord rocks from bottom to top using a particular rhythm. I'll just play the first chord to show you the rhythm. So that's bottom, top, bottom, top, bottom. Just repeat that first chord until you feel comfortable with the rhythm. You might want to just repeat this little section of the video and play along with it. Once you're comfortable with that first chord, you can play through the entire sequence with the rhythm. You'll notice that last one was a little bit different. I was playing the B flat, then the B and D flat, and then back to the B flat again. So again, the full sequence. And that last one more time to be sure. To put it together, there are various ways to think of it. One handy perspective is that both hands play together except for the first 2 left-hand middle notes. So, you'll see the first event is both hands together. Next event, left-hand middle note. on its own. The next is both hands together, both top notes by the way. Next the left hand middle note coming back down, and after that it's together all the way. Okay, again. Together, left, together, left, together, together, together. Otherwise, you can use this diagram, which you'll also find on the blog page. And like the last diagram, this is simply a way of representing how the hands will relate to each other. I've just chosen to do it a little bit differently this time. Down the left-hand column is what your left hand will play. Down the right-hand column is what your right hand will play. When you see left and right next to each other, that indicates you're playing together. And just like before, we're going to start off very slowly, controlling the events until we can build up speed and start to establish the feel. I think with this one we can go straight into playing both hands together. So that will be together, left together, left together, together, together. Together, left together, left together, together, together. Together, left together, left together, together, together. When you're pretty confident with that, try it on the keyboard, but when you do, again, slow it right down and control the events. Build up speed slowly. Don't forget that little change in the final chord where we play the two notes that one time. It goes with the left hand second bottom note. Remember that you can't rush the process. If you're struggling, that's usually a sign that you're either trying to move too fast or trying to do too much. So just reduce what you have to do. Take it in small digestible chunks. Take it slowly, step by step, control the events. I hope you enjoyed this project.